DJ Event Planner, Electro Voice, DJ Trivia and DJ Bingo, ProX Direct, NLFX Pro, Promo Only, Odyssey Cases, Perfect Portals, Instant DJ Requests, and our DJNTV Insiders. This is John Young from DJNTV. Thanks for watching.
Good evening. Happy Halloween. Welcome to Monday night. Hopefully,
your shirt looks like you have Charlie Brown's shirt on.
Kind of does.
Oh, there you go. Okay, now I see it.
I mean,
got to get the other half, but there you go.
The only one of us that was festive tonight.
Well, of course, you got to be a little festive. I mean, I
humbug.
wasn't going to wear the makeup and all that, but
Bah humbug.
I don't know. It sounds like he should have. I'm just saying.
Oh yeah.
listen, I've got a face for radio, and I know it. That's why MJ, when we're doing our thing, he puts the microphone right in front of the computer screen so he can't see my face. I get it. It's okay. I'm not upset.
Talking? I don't even know.
Yeah.
I'm so lost. It's Monday night.
So tonight is question and answer night. For those of you who have never seen one of these shows, we've got questions that I've taken from different Facebook groups. Sometimes people send them in. Sometimes they have been submitted via the chat during our last show, which I see I don't have the chat up, so I'm going to do that. But we've got a variety of questions that we are going to do, and we put a little spacer between the questions, so that way we can put those divide those up a little bit later into smaller segments and post. So those, when you're looking for that question to be answered, you can go and find it later in our on the channel. So, are you guys you ready? We've got a few here.
Is that the first question?
Yeah.
No. Yes, I'm ready.
Oh, hey, wow, we haven't had any. So I've got to go and click on all the mountains. I'm trying to log into Restream's the Restream chat thing.
I was like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, I've got to go and.
Is this a new video game? Click the mountain.
Pretty much, and it does not.
It's another thing you have blocked. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Oh my
But
god.
before we went on today, we were talking about the ability to block things just so you're not lost. And we went through a list, and we're trying to wonder what kind of stuff comes up on my Facebook page because I have so much stuff blocked. And I told them about the only thing that comes through anymore is tech sites like Android for phones. And that's about it. I think the Weather Channel maybe comes up occasionally.
And that's pretty much about it. Yeah.
I don't really know anything else that comes up because I think right now I've put everything on a 30-day snooze. Motorcycle ones, DJs, music. I think there's one. It's going to be the strangest one. I follow this one for Aurora Borealis because I want to see one day. So if we ever get it, they let you know like if it comes low. I want to take a drive and go see it, but I think that's coming through. Anyways, I'm babbling now. John, have you clicked on all the mountains yet?
I am. I've got it.
Or should I keep talking?
No, I've got it set. So we are good to go. So we're going to get things going with our first question right after this.
Uploaded.
All right, our first question tonight is: do you or would you do an upcharge for a tough load-in with stairs or down a long hallway or a long walk? Would you charge more for that?
So you're saying someone wants me to supply stairs?
No, they want you to walk up and down the stairs.
I got Dan with the head shake. Hoorah!
They want you to
First
go
question, really?
up and down.
So I'm going to jump in there. So my philosophy really comes down to not so much if it's a difficult setup, but if it requires somebody else. If I have to bring an extra person to do the setup because it's complex in such way. I really am jammed on time, and I have to. If it requires another person, then I'm charging extra for it. Beyond that, I'm kind of picky about my events. So stuff that requires some of that extra stuff that's just a little bit off, unless I really want to play at that venue, I just don't. So if it requires someone, that's when I charge.
MJ, what are your thoughts?
I'm trying to find that question because I'm sure I marked something down here that was hilarious, even more than I can make Dan shake his head. I don't do enough of those to even, it doesn't even register. Plus, I also don't have enough equipment to worry about it either. Like, literally, I own 2 speakers. That's it. Mm-hmm. No subs, no nothing. Couple of gig bars. So I can almost drag my entire cart up a set of stairs. So
if needed.
But I'm sure I've written down something funny here that I can. Anyways, go on.
In my situation, I would, if it's difficult enough, and I'm pretty quick to pull the trigger on that one, is I will actually not. I won't play there. I have turned numerous events down because they have been in places like the second level of a barn in the middle of July in Minnesota. Not going to happen. I'm not going to go there. So would I charge extra for steps? I wouldn't. I would probably, if I would sell a package that was needed it would be a more expensive package, and I would quote that accordingly. I wouldn't have it as a separate line item. But in many cases, even if I take someone with me, I would either have a higher price for that, or I wouldn't do it. Granted, then I wouldn't have somebody with me. But yeah, because that one can be a difficult situation. MJ, did you find your smart response?
I didn't find anything.
Okay. Well, we'll go to our next
question.
I'll
answer the next round of questions.
I would add one extra thing real quick here before we go on then, since MJ doesn't have his answer. I would basically say, if you're in the philosophy of doing that, and that's, to everyone, it's their own business model. So if you want to charge extra because that makes you feel better about the extra hard setup, whatever it might be, if you, and you're not bringing somebody else in, the thing that I would kind of keep in mind is I would not necessarily put it as a line item, right? I would make sure that this is something that you just threw into the price. Don't bring it out as something extra, because I have a feeling like that could come back to bite you a little.
Very true.
I found my answer.
Oh.
I don't charge extra unless they require me to carry both the bride and the groom up the stairs at the same time.
No, that makes perfect sense. I mean, that was a logical answer.
I took time to write that down at some point in the past.
Okay.
The barber says.
Let's jump to our next question. So our next question tonight is, what would a person expect as the life expectancy of a DJ controller? So if we're bought one and we're using it every weekend or every couple of weekends, how long can we realistically depend on it before we should start to think about maybe replacing it? Who wants to start, MJ?
He's looking something up.
Yeah, because a lot of these questions we've had for so long, I've decided to write stupid answers to. So now I'm having to search through all these things by code words to see if I can find. So I put controller, then life. So it's possible, that I might have said something on there. Controller. No. Yeah. This is the weird thing. Are you asking technology-wise or physically hardware hold up without breaking?
I would say it's the breaking side of it. How long can I count on this controller before starting to worry about it getting too old for mechanical breakdowns and such?
Are you sure you want me to answer this?
I do, because you are on, I would say you're on one extreme of this. So
it's getting to the point now, if I can get 3 years out of a controller, I'm doing good.
Mm-hmm.
3 to 4 years. Headphones, I used to do 2 years. I couldn't get any more 2 years, but then they would break. I'm getting a little bit more now, but controllers, the same thing. Buttons start breaking. Something breaks within 3 to 4 years, and it just infuriates me. Not that they break, because trust me, I'm hard on equipment, but and I'm not going to mention names, I can't get replacement parts for certain devices that I would probably still be using, but they literally do not have the parts. So I can't even fix it. I can't even pay someone to fix it. Nothing. And that's what irritates me. So some stuff, speaker-wise, 10 years, I bet. The only thing, I think, honestly, speakers is you outgrow them, because I don't see too many problems with too many speakers nowadays. But controllers, yeah, I don't understand.
And now, that 2 to 3 years that you're relying on it, or you feel that it can work for you, you're using this multiple times a week, and you're doing a lot of different things with it compared to, someone like myself who, it's like, okay, I'm going to push play carefully.
You are hitting multiple buttons every single song transition. And that song transition is no more than every 3 minutes. So you're doing that for 4 to 6 hours multiple times a week.
I'll be honest, I'm surprised you get, you mentioned, you did say 2 to 3, but then you also threw out 3 to 4 sometimes. I'm surprised you get that as much as you play. Mm-hmm. Now, and we've talked about this a little bit before. I'm heavy-handed on my right hand, because that's the side that I always have problems with my controllers. So it could be along those lines. But I found sometimes 4 years is about the extent of what I want to go, because beyond that I start noticing little nuances. Faders that kind of don't respond the way that they used to, or buttons that aren't, I'm hitting them, or I have to hit them kind of funky just to make it work. Little things like that, and as MJ said, you can't get them replaced the way you used to. Even if you want to send them back in, even then sometimes you're like, yeah,
I'm just saying, with the one that I owned, you can't send it to get it repaired, because I literally called the company and they're like, yeah, that part's not made anymore.
Yeah.
So literally, I can't fix it. Someone else can't fix it. It's unfixable. And that's what I'm running into, is stuff that breaks, and they go, well, there's just new stuff out there. And they won't even bother to give you any sort of length of time on it. It is very much that, what is that called? When they want it to break down at a certain time.
Planned obsolescence.
Planned obsolescence. There's no doubt in my mind that they want you to buy a new controller every 5 years maximum.
Mm-hmm. No,
somewhat times that's good, because there's new technology, better sound cards, software. We're seeing that now, where Serato just dropped the Serato SL boxes, 62 mixers, all that stuff, that their software no longer works. Even if you have the mixer and stuff that works, new software doesn't work with it. Mm-hmm. They've obsoleted that via software. So, Robin says over 10 years on her 6000. Again, Robin, I had both the 6000 MK1, MK2, and I maybe got 3 years out of both of them till faders were breaking, buttons were breaking. And that's the difference between someone who presses play, lets the song play all the way through, presses play, and me, where I'm like 2 minutes to 3 minutes maximum, multiple effects, mixing 4 hours a night, multiple nights a week. You're working it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely at a different level than what a lot of us do with that.
Plus, again, also the 6000 MK1 doesn't work on a lot of the software now too.
That was the big thing. Yeah, when you mentioned software, is that was my biggest problem. I love this. The 6000 is sitting on the other side now, and it's got a turntable on either side of it, and it's not being used for any software. It's just being used as a mixer, and just a ability to control the sound from Sonos and 2 turntables while they're playing pool.
Yeah. So that's the problem with technology, and I think it's only going to get more and more. Because you look at the standalones that some of the companies are coming out with, they control you software and hardware. So whenever they say you're done with it, you're done with it.
Yeah, pretty abruptly with those. All right, let's go to our next question. Okay, our next question tonight is, how do you carry cables? Whether it's XLR cables, speaker cables, extension cords, do you carry them in totes, bags, wind them up and, over your arms? What do you do?
Right rear pocket.
Right rear pocket. Nice. That would be, to get that extension cord wrapped up nicely and get it in there, that would be pretty impressive.
Again, I travel much lighter than the average.
No, that's true.
I'm going to say mine real quick because you guys are going to be into this more and people are going to be into your answers more. I have a small set that stays in the backpack, and it's backups of pretty much everything. Like one backup of USB, one backup mic cord, 2 short XLRs for speakers. Like I think they're 6 foot. Couple little things like that stay in the bag, and then in the car there's a large bag with doubles and triples of everything, and then in the speaker bags there's doubles of I would say doubles, but there's singles. There's one of everything in the speaker bags, and in the speaker pole bags there's stuff. So it goes along with me, but it's there's always extras there. But for me, it's pretty minimal.
So I used to have a duffel bag. I don't know, just something I bought at Walmart, right? So it just had a big open container like pocket, and I put all of my audio cables in one bag and all of my power cords in another. And then I also would put in the same one as the power cords, I was putting my DMX cables because I didn't want to get confused
between the two.
Was DMX versus audio. So that was what I did for the longest time. But what I found was like I was lugging in these like bags into the venue, only to then end up having to take the bag out or try and hide the bag somewhere.
Sure.
Like I really wasn't using that much. So when I redid my trailer this, maybe it was last year, I guess, I had a set of E-Track put way up high, and then they make like little U-hooks on them, or that you can attach into the E-Track. So I would do that. And now I just, and I just have my audio on one, I have my power on another, I have my DMX on another, and then I just grab what I want right off of that, throw it on top of the cart, and wheel it in. And so now it's a lot quicker, both for teardown and grab. And then if I'm doing something where I'm not taking my cart, I have like a little plastic tote type of thing. Like I think it was like a file folder type of container. And I just enough to throw the cables that I'm going to need when I need the small system. And because I'm not taking the trailer, they go in that. So I'm not like losing them in the car somewhere.
Interesting. So in some situations you've gone completely away from bags or totes. It's just almost running free there with those
extras. Like as MJ said, kind of the backups. I still have the duffel bags in the trailer, but I don't get into them unless I need to, unless there's some sort of weird power thing, or if one of the cables like starts acting funky, then I'll grab. I'm like, I know what I'm doing. I'm just grabbing that. Let's see if the issue was my cable or if the issue was something else. And that's the only time I ever get into the duffel bags. They're there, but the stuff I'm using on the regular, on those little hooks.
Nice. My progression, I used to have it where I had one big plastic tote that was the power cables, and one was XLR. I wasn't fancy enough to separate them between DMX and the other because I just never bought DMX cables for the longest time. I just used audio for everything. Then we got to the point where we started doing a more variety of shows, but many smaller shows. So then we went from the backup, the extra pieces in one of the totes, and then we went to bags because now we're using the car sometimes, and putting a tote in the car doesn't work. Sometimes you've only got so much space, and the bag will flatten and go in there. So we've gone to using some padded bags for cables. So the main padded bag has the cables that are needed for the show, and then the extra and backup stuff is in a tote in the truck. And if it's needed, it's there. And if it's not, well, it stays in the truck. Just kind of like what you're doing there, Dan. And that works out pretty well. Okay. Let's go to our next question here. Here we go. So our next question was kind of based up on website, but I wanted to kind of expand this because some of us don't do much with websites. So how often, guys, do you either update your website or update your online profiles and information, maybe new pictures or something on the covers, to kind of freshen that look up? Is that something you do often, or is it something that doesn't happen too often?
Go ahead, MJ.
I was doing it right now, actually. I don't know if I'm the norm or not. I update everything all the time. I have a rolling thing on the website for gigs. So it shows for the next till the end of the year where I'm going to be at on what date. So the website, it's just a pop out that shows that, and that gets updated probably about once a month. So I'll push the next month on, or 2 months, depending on what I have knowledge of. And social media is constantly, like at least once a day.
But I think he means like your profile piece, not like your bio area.
What did
that kind of thing, not just posting.
Yeah. The idea is you're changing some of the, not just putting content up, but changing, the cover. It is. Do you change the cover all the time? Are you changing profile pics or the main thumbnails?
A couple times a year. I change the wording too here or there. I just changed my profile picture again. It's twice this year I've changed it. But I'm doing a rebranding, so that changes a lot too.
Sure.
I've recently changed my bio because I wanted it to be rather stupid. Go ahead, say it. You're stupid before, dude.
Yeah.
So I do update stuff a lot. I really do. Trying to get to mine to read it because I can never quote it properly. Full-time DJ, artist, producer, and DJNTV host. That's not the right one. I don't just Dan. Please take this away from me.
All right, so and to what MJ said, I can already tell you this from the website standpoint. I'm doing it wrong. I know flat out that I do it wrong. I have not full out changed things on my site in probably 2 years, maybe even pushing 3. I paid a company to completely rehaul the whole thing and create it from scratch and tweak everything and do everything. And I pay them to be able to make updates. And so there's things that I'll change, like change wordings here or there, like little minor things. But I haven't done an overhaul in my website in way too long. And I know I need to redo that. Maybe this is the kick in the butt I need to do it this winter. But that's been kind of one piece from that standpoint. On the social media aspect, though, I try and stay up on that a little bit more. This year I went through a couple different phases where like I knew I wasn't doing my bio for Instagram right. So I got into tweaking that around and then putting in the link tree aspect. So that way, and so as I learn more, that one, maybe because I feel like I have a little bit more handle on and it's easier to change, right? You got a little box of text versus a website, which is like multi-pages and all that kind of stuff. That I think has made a huge difference. And then I try and as far as like official pictures, I try and have at least one photo session done once or twice a year. And then from that, I'll kind of pick and choose, pictures to change up every few months. Again, either Instagram or Facebook or sometimes both. John?
Nice. Yeah, this is an area in which I don't do very well also. It should be done and should be updated much more frequently. I think as far as a mobile DJ, wedding DJ's website, I think changing it once a year is possible. I think twice a year should be kind of a target. Like in this time of year, maybe in September should have been a time to kind of redo it and have it refreshed for October, November, December. And then maybe again in the spring where you've changed it to maybe a more seasonal approach. I don't do that. I don't focus or I don't push as hard to get DJ events as I used to. So that's allowed me to be lazy, and that's not a good thing. Social media wise, I don't do just beyond the flow of content. I don't change things up as much as others who have been much more effective and much more successful. So obviously the shelf life with social media, we think it should be, we should be changing things up a lot faster. The flow of content is the important part. The actual cover, there's people who come and they look at my, my Facebook page today, and the images are older that are the main ones, but, they haven't been looking at it for 6 months like I have. I get to see it every day or every other day. So I like, oh my God, that's so old. Well, no, for them, that's still new. So,
but keep in mind also your profile picture and the header, as you update them, they become posts. Yeah. So you're treating them both as an update and a post. And for those of you who are wondering what my thing on Instagram, it says lifelong artist, DJ, author, dancer, performer, and part-time robot.
That explains so much.
It does, it really does. I mean, now it's a much more clear moment.
Took me a while to get that so that I can explain it.
All right, let's go to our next question here, guys. So our next question, this one's come up an awful lot here in the last few days, maybe a week or so, because all of a sudden, out of nowhere, well, out of somewhere, we knew it was coming, is the
Everse 8.
Everse 8 from Electro Voice came out, and we had kind of mentioned, for you guys follow, we've talked about there was going to be something coming in November, so it was a few days earlier than what we were talking about. But Everse 8's out, and the question became can we trust YouTube DJs who are out there making reviews on gear? Are they legitimate? What they're saying, is it something that you can base your purchases on, or is it something that you should still be skeptical? And how do you guys look at that? What's your thoughts?
Depends on who it is. Depends on who it is. And I don't mean that any underhanded. I don't mean that as far as like who the product is, but there are definite people that as you're watching the review, you can just get a feel, maybe not from that one review, but if you've seen any of the reviews, you can quickly get a feel for how they talk about a product. And it's always glowing. No matter what it is, it's always glowing. Really? And so that's where my BS meter just goes through the roof on those. And I go, you know what? That might be a great product. You're absolutely right. That product might be a great product, but I don't know enough to trust you. So I'm moving on. And then there's other people who, when they're doing it, they'll give you the goods, they'll give you the bads, they'll give you everything in between on any product. They won't make a decision for you. But they'll lay everything out in as much detail and information as possible, and then say, okay, take with it what you're going to use. And those are the ones that I take a lot more stock in, just because I get a better vibe off of it, and I'm able to take the information and know that it's credible, and know that. And I'm not saying this with the Everse 8. Please don't take it this way, but to know that there wasn't money slipped to them for a good review. I'm not saying that with that company, they don't work that way, but I know of other reviewers who have made quite a bit of money off of, products that they've so nicely reviewed.
You also have to keep in mind that a lot of reviewers have to submit their script to the brands to get it approved, or get the finished video sent to the brand so they can approve it. So they hold back on things, like Dan said, and make everything sound wonderful because they don't want to have to redo sections of the video. For me, it's really odd because everybody has an opinion, and that's part of the reason why my videos on Disc Jockey News were pretty darn just facts. Because opinions are like things, and everybody has things, and everybody thinks their thing doesn't stink. But it sometimes does. But you have to find someone who is going to use the equipment in the way you're going to use it, in the venues you're going to use it. Number two thing I would tell you to do is watch multiple videos, and whatever multiple people say, yeah, this sounds good this way, yeah, this sounds good this way, you're going to have a chance that's probably how that sounds, or it's too small for this, or it's too heavy. If they all say the same thing, you're probably going to get that. And third, the most important thing to do is screw the videos. Find someone who owns it. As soon as it comes out, find somebody who purchased it, and then literally ask them the questions you want to ask them. Hey, I'm going to use this in a hall that's this size for this many people. That's my norm. How do you think that would work for that in your experience? And that's kind of the best way. Because people doing videos, I'm telling you, like Dan said, they get paid. They have to approve scripts. Sometimes scripts are written for them. And
I would also say that there are reviewers out there that don't get paid. They buy the product themselves. True. They don't make anything of it. It's not sent to them or anything along those lines, other than they pick the product up and they decide to do a video on it. And those are the ones that you're also going to notice that they don't have 20 different products of the same type that they decided to review, right? They probably have 2 or 3 videos of that type that they put out.
John, do you believe the videos that you put out?
I try to go from the angle of is I'm not going to, unless it really stinks, I'm not going to talk down about it, but I will point out limitations. That's a big part of a lot of the videos that I do, is talking about it can be used here, but it's probably not going to fit over here. That's, to being honest with that. When we were talking, getting a 12-inch speaker and doing a video review on it. Actually, I've got some speakers over there right now that we've been working with. And they are not a name brand speaker. They're an Amazon company that has a 12-inch two-way speaker, and they're a nice little speaker for a couple of applications, not the type of applications that we do on a regular basis, but it might be a good fit as a rental speaker. That's something that goes out, and if it gets ruined, hey, you're not out a ton of money. Or it could be something that if you needed a backyard party speaker, that if it gets rained and damaged, again, you're not out a lot of money. There's potential uses for it if you have those types of uses, and if you don't, whatever. But being honest with that and not saying, oh, it's a great sounding speaker and boy, it will do great at every event you ever do. That's just not cool. And some people out there have kind of gone that way with everything. And then when you get to the point of going and trying something, and it's like, well, wait, that, there's an old American Audio speaker, and I'm not meaning to be mean to American Audio, but they had a speaker out there that sounded great for like in a room. It was a 15-inch two-way cabinet, and it would sound fabulous, like listening to it at a cocktail in this room. You'd think it's a great speaker. You take it out where you need to push it, and it was horrible because it was only able to do about that much. Those types of things, to being kind of honest and talking about not only the positives but limitations with the gear.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things. I've seen Brian S. Reed a couple times do reviews on things where he said this will work for this type of gig, and really spell out its strengths and weaknesses. If you have this will work for this. If you have this, it's equivalent to this. Don't expect this out of it. And I think if you find a reviewer that's willing to tell you that, because everything might fit, it might not fit. You have to. It's what you do with it. So.
Okay, excellent. Okay, I was trying to figure out what somebody posted something in the chat and it wasn't making sense to me. So,
was it my review?
No,
my
no.
answer back to him. Okay.
No, I don't think so. So I think
don't get me started on that. That's all I got to say.
Yeah, we'll. I think we're good on that one. So, okay, so let's jump to our next question. So our next question, this is actually kind of will be almost a bounce back to one of the earlier questions. We were talking about difficult load-ins and such, which would lead to this. Would you or have you ever blacklisted a venue that you will not play at anymore? Go ahead.
I feel like there's a story, MJ.
No, there's just so many.
So many, okay.
There was a place that I absolutely loved DJing at. They got a new manager. I hated the manager. I told the owner, I said, hey, by the way, my schedule's full. Let me know when so-and-so is no longer the manager, then my schedule will open up. It's not, for me, it's not worth aggravation of making money for something that is going to bother me, whether it be a venue that is picky, a manager, an owner, anything. I have no problem putting someone on the shelf, a place on the shelf, a venue, a street. If I don't want to go back, if I think the parking in that area is hideous, I won't take a gig there.
Sure.
So, yeah.
I've almost gone to that. There's one venue in particular. There's two venues, but I haven't been to the second one yet. But the first one, there's a venue in our area. And I've talked about this many a times, and you guys, Spiral Staircase, right? So that's the place that is not on my blacklist. However, that is the stipulation. Like, it's on my blacklist. If you want me up there, sorry, I'm not doing it. Mm-hmm. I will not go to that place. Like, I'll keep the small setup. I don't care. I'll do all the other things you want me to do so I can play there. I'm not going up there. So if that's the deal. That's the deal breaker. There's a barn venue that I haven't played at yet. Similar type of situation. It's not a spiral staircase. It's a ladder to get up to the spot.
I want to see the insurance write up on ladder.
A ladder.
Well, to my understanding, it's not a ladder. It's steps, but when I saw it, that looked like a ladder. Again, same deal. Like I'm like, listen, I'll play here, but I'm on the floor. Like, and in the same respect, this is one of those barn weddings that I'm kind of like, great, another barn. If I don't play here, I'm not really going to lose sleep over it. So not blacklisted, but I've got like definite, like this has to be the case, or, yep, sorry, no, not me. Won't be there.
So for myself, I had a couple of venues that I had on my blacklist that were basically just difficult load-ins. One was a venue manager that I just absolutely would not work with anymore because no matter what we did, it always turned out the same way and it was bad. So it wasn't a good reflection on myself or anybody. So there were 3, and over the years, one of the venues that I used to not go to did a huge remodel, and part of the remodel was because there was a huge wedding that they wanted to have, and the bride wanted me more than she wanted the venue, and she ended up moving her wedding to a different venue, and that cost them several $1,000s, and they decided they were going to change. The other venue went out of business, and that manager and her place went out of business. So right now, I don't have anything on there except paying attention to barns. Similar to what Dan was saying, is that if it's going to be a problem, if it's too much of a problem, I just say, hey, here's that phone number for MJ. Give him a call. He'll come to a barn wedding. You say you need some Johnny Cash played? Oh yeah, he's into that. Okay, so let's go to our next question here, guys. Here we go. So the next question is, have you guys slowed down in playing Huey Lewis in the News at your events?
If the speed is 0 and I slow down, that's still 0, right? I think that's how math works.
I, from time to time, will play the Hubster, but I don't play him any more or any less than anyone else than before.
than before. Well,
Hubert. I play Hubert from time to time.
You play Hubert's music. Oh, I've actually, I bet I can't play 10 times in my whole career that I've actually played one of their songs during a dance. Cocktail, possibly it's mixed in. But these weddings this fall, we've had these parties where the venue said midnight is your shutdown. You got to shut down at that time. So my go-to is hey, everyone cheered. Oh, okay, everyone, thanks for going. And then play Happy Trails. Okay. Well, they're still yelling one more. So I have gone back to playing, throwing in, 4 or 5 Huey Lewis tracks on the thing, playing it at a lower volume afterwards. And it's amazing that people, it just brings them down. They stop the chanting and they do their socializing and then they leave. So
is it chanting, John, or protesting?
It's a variation because, yes, it's hard to tell, with the one more, are they protesting that I'm shutting down? Yes. But once the Huey Lewis stuff has gone on, it's like I would expect them to continue, but people just have been, I don't know, it must be that soothing San Francisco bluesy rock that just does it. I don't know.
Does Huey know that John is a stalker like that? As we used to call him back in the day, super fans. Is John a super fan that's on some sort of list for Hubert?
Well, yeah, there is that.
I don't know which is worse. The fact that John asked this question, or as I'm listening, I'm like, no, that's not really on the list, is it? Oh my gosh, it is on the list. It was. I thought he was messing with us. So in all seriousness, I don't play. I can't remember the last time I played anything along those lines. But to the other point of the end of the night. So I always have queued up. I always try and end just 3 minutes early, right? If I'm going up to the top and we're not doing some like a last dance by themselves or anything like that, or sparkler send off, and I'm taking up top. I try and finish about 3 to 4 minutes early. So if they do that chant, I will drop in sync bye. So they kind of catch on. And then if they decide to do the one more song on the mic, go home, you're drunk. And everybody laughs and it just cuts that tension and then they just go. I only had it one time where it didn't, and it happened to be a venue where the manager of the hotel that the ballroom was in was the guest who was extremely intoxicated telling me to keep playing.
Oh yeah, that would be
So I can't blame the venue because it was her venue.
Yeah, that would be a tough one.
I have something that I do from time to time. It's not a big deal, but I've noticed that it will kind of calm down. But whatever my last song's going to be, shortly before it ends, I walk away from the DJ booth. Not out of sight, so if somebody jumps up there, I can't see them, but I'm not behind it. So when the song ends, there's no DJ there.
Yeah, so they're like,
people kind of go, okay. Or I'm over there putting stuff in a bag, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Accidentally.
Yeah, that works.
I forgot that song ended.
Alrighty, let's jump to our next question. So the next question, somebody was asking, there's a lot of brand loyalty out there. You find something you like in company and you go. What would it take in some cases for you to change your brand loyalty when it came to your DJ gear? Or have you ever changed your DJ gear? And
Jay, go for it, because you went through this. Like this was, I remember this process.
I shocked a lot of people because I switched brands.
Yeah.
I had literally been DJing strictly on Denon equipment since the late 90s.
And then Hercules came out.
CD players. What's that, John?
And then Hercules came out. No?
Yeah.
Well, you do have a Hercules player, but that's a different story.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I think I might have had one prior to that, too.
Like,
I don't know. I don't remember. I know I had American DJ CD players for a short while. Not American Audio. Not ADJ. American DJ.
Yes.
To go look that up.
Back in the 90s.
But it took for me two things. I started leaning that way when the company that I was at, Denon, not at, but with, stopped making controllers that I wanted to DJ on. I wanted to DJ on a standard controller, and they were only making standalones at that point. They had no more just normal everyday controllers. That was pushing me away from them. And then started having problems with stuff breaking, and everybody who was using that brand was having the same problems with the same things breaking. And I just saw a window to get out, because if this is the start of the avalanche, I want out. And decided to move, and for me it was the best move I could have made. I stayed with them and was with them partially because I loved some of their equipment early on. Really, really loved it. But later on it became very good for my career to be on Denon, because there's less people on Denon, so I stood out. So now as a Rain DJ, there's zillions of Rain DJs, and there's zillions of Pioneer DJs, and it's tough to stand out in them. But as a Denon DJ, I stood out, and it made it very good for me. But like I said, it got to that point where they stopped making things that I wanted and stopped making things that I could use, and I just had to move on.
Mm-hmm.
So
mine's somewhat similar. So I might be brand loyal, but not intentionally, right? So I kind of get on a certain piece, and for example, I use Denon products for my controllers, but I've had Pioneer, I have a Roland, so I'm not tied to it, but I'm more looking for certain products. And there's been a trend with certain features within brands that I like. For my microphones, I like Sennheiser because I like the metal casing of the wireless mic. I feel like it has a better feel than the plastic on some of the other ones.
Sure.
And so I would be willing to, and I like the quality of some of the other ones, but when I pick it up and I go, it just doesn't feel what I want. And so there's things like that pull me back. So what would get me to switch would be an improvement in the product at a time when I need to replace. So for example, we've talked about, the MC7000, can't buy them anymore. I'm in the mood for a new controller at some point. I've been trying to keep an eye out, but nothing seems to be out there for what I want at a price that I'm considering willing to pay.
Right.
And so, and put those into pieces, and I'm going to hold off. Hit that right spot, and I'll buy it tomorrow.
I think for myself, as I changed over the years in speakers and audio gear, it's really become a technology thing. That, there was some American audio things. I had those at one time. But then the Denon stuff came out, and it had much more for features, and it was a step up, and it was an improvement on that. Going from, the the PV speakers I had to the bag end speakers, and then moving to some of the better qualities. What we have, the evolution really was always a step up in quality. The end result was always giving a better show. Now, today, looking at the powered speakers and things, and when a change has been made with those, it was really based on the capability. When the Evolves, I had the RCF J8s, and I loved the J8s. But when you put the Evolve next to it, I felt the Evolve knocked the socks off, and I got rid of the J8s. Just as an example with those. So it's been that progression, but it's always been a progression because I thought I was going into something that was better quality that's going to do what I needed to do. So that's been my thought. Am I brand loyal? Yeah, Eevee's going to have a sweet spot, and yes, they are a sponsor, but even without that, I've had a couple of issues where I've needed to have some tech support, or I've needed to get some pieces, and I've been able to get pieces sent out, or I boxed up and sent it down, and it was quick, and things were fixed and replaced, and I was back up and running within days. So that's pretty impressive when you're having something that a speaker amp that died on me one weekend, and I shipped it out on Monday, and it was back on Friday. So I was pretty excited about that. So that goes a long way in keeping that brand loyalty when it comes to that. And for those who are wondering, it was sent out of Minnesota. It was sent down to Omaha, I think is where it is. So it's like an 8-hour trip, but whatever UPS or whatever company was, that's however they do it. So there. All right, I think we have time enough for one more question, guys. Okay, somebody was posted a question. They were going to be expanding our DJ services and are going to be hauling more gear, and they were wondering what people were doing. It sounded like, from my understanding, they were using like a little car, and now they were going to need something bigger. So they were like, do I go with a van? Do I go with a truck? Or do I go with a trailer? So I've been through all of those in my time, but what direction did you guys go in, or what have you found is the most comfortable?
You want to get, whatever you do, a bicycle with at least 7 speeds. No less than 7.
Yeah, 6 would be just not enough.
To get your gear there.
Yeah. 6 would not be enough. Ooh, you can make money during the week.
Mr. Big Bucks there. Woo.
No, you're the one controlling it. So you make some money while you're doing it.
Pedal cart type things. Yeah. Your gear in the back. I did once go on a bicycle ride here in the city where someone was in the back of a pedal cart as part of the bicycle ride DJing. So it was kind of neat. For me, I'm going to say it from my point of view. I don't carry as much gear as other people, so I can get away with a lot less. I got away with a bunch of years with a 2-door hatchback, and I want a 4-door truck, and I'm looking to expand on things. I'm going, hey, I can fit a sub in there. Why not? Or maybe I need to get a bigger cart. So you're going to know. I think for me, if I were to give someone advice, financial stuff would be, don't put yourself in debt to get gear there.
Yeah.
Think about that first. You I don't know. That's the best way I can explain it. I don't know. Does that work?
The one thing I would say is you really need to think about where you're traveling, and I think that's what I would put even above the financial piece to that. And what I mean by that is, as nice as it might be to have a trailer, there are certain areas and especially metropolitan areas, where having a trailer attached to your vehicle and trying to find parking for it at a venue becomes
horrific.
Insane.
Yes.
Yeah, horrific probably would be even better choice of words there. So finding what you have space for. So I started out with a minivan. It was kind of funny. I got rid of the minivan 2 months before I ever had my first kid, and went to a trailer with a car. And for that was because I didn't want to have to keep taking the car seat out to put the DJ equipment in. That was why I kind of went to the car. And
I did the same thing, but mine was a bass speaker. I got tired of taking the bass speaker in and out every weekend.
There you go. Yeah, priorities. So with ours, so I was doing the trailer with the car. That worked for a little while. Then I upgraded trailer and upgraded to an SUV. But one of the things that I've noticed is that I don't like I don't like the hauling aspect that I have with the trailer. I know some people that really like it, and I totally get that. One of the advantages to a trailer versus a truck is if you have a place to be able to pull it in, you can leave it loaded. Where if it's your everyday truck or something like that, you probably don't want to be hauling your DJ equipment around town as you go get groceries or something like that. But if it's in a trailer and you can put the trailer in a safe place, you can just leave it loaded. But I'm keep leaning back towards like the Ford Transit or the Dodge ProMaster or the Mercedes Sprinter, like the bigger vans, right? Because they have the space, you can load them, and using them only for DJ related things. I'm leaning towards them just from the ease of, I've been backing into some barns, and it's just like the way they've got it. It's like I'm turning this way and the thing's going this way, and or I'm at the end of the night and I want to load up, and the bus that they have for to take everybody home is taking forever to pull out. If I had a van, I could get in there, but when I got the trailer, there's no way I'm getting in there. So little things like that just make me go, I don't know. So that, I mean, like I said, I would look at where you're going with it first, and then from there start to lay it out. There are pros and cons to everything that you look at. Obviously, trailers can be a heck of a lot cheaper than than like the Ford Transit or the Sprinter vans. But yeah,
I've used the van, I've used car, the truck. The truck is my main one right now, and of course the trailer. Used to use the trailer behind a VW, a Golf, a little diesel Golf, and that was a great little combination. But is just as you were saying, Dan, there's the times where do you park that thing? How do you unload? I'm down in Minneapolis, and I can't even get that thing into a parking garage. Even though it was a small car and a small trailer, they're just not designed for trailers to be down there in some of those parking ramps. So that became a concern and a problem, and now I have my truck, and it's in a climate-controlled building. The gear is warm all winter until it goes outside. It takes a lot of the issues that we used to have during cold winter events where the trailer sitting outside, the CD players at that time, everything was out there. So when you got to this school, because we don't do too many weddings here in the winter, but you get to the school and then you have an hour before you can use your gear because it's just too wet. There's too much condensation on it. So going to the truck, even though it does go outside for a period of time, generally it's not as cold as it would be if it had been out a week in sub-zero weather, which has been kind of nice for that. What would I recommend? I think MJ's idea that not going into debt to haul your gear, I think is a fabulous words of advice with that. And if that means that you rent a trailer and you have a vehicle that can pull it, that's legitimate. I mean, I just rented a car hauler for 2 days for like $100. So I can't imagine that a little trailer from U-Haul. And I see bands and other performers using U-Haul vans or U-Haul vehicles to get things there. So you can rent a lot with U-Haul. For instead of $4,000 for a trailer, you can rent that U-Haul trailer for a lot of times and get a feel for if I like a trailer before you actually drop the money on that. You may find out you absolutely hate the trailer and would rather go a different direction. So that would be my thought.
They've got some of those bigger vans and everything to try out. I mean, John just hit it exactly. Like, if you're not sure, before you go and drop the money on any of it, give it a shot with one of their vehicles and see. The other thing is, see if your equipment even fits in it, right? Mm-hmm. Like, that's the other thing is, like, you might be thinking, well, I really need to go a van or I really need to go a truck. And then you go and you try and put your gear in, and it's like Tetris, and you got 4 pieces that don't fit. Like, you now have a new option before you spend all that money thinking it would.
And even a cube truck, you can rent a cube truck and take that, but you may find out that you are not able to pull the gear up the ramp, or you're not able to lift that gear up that 4 feet to get it in there very easily. Little things like that are nice to find out before you've got a ton of money on the line and now you're looking to sell a truck to get something different right away. Okay, so that'll wrap up tonight. Tomorrow night, Tuesday night, and we're going to be off with the Tuesday night with Ben Stowe. We're going to probably be off for the next 2 weeks, and I'm hoping that we can come back here in about mid-November. We'll see how things are going. It's just been a lot of things have been kind of all lining up here this fall, so it hasn't worked out to do our Tuesday night with Ben Stowe. But we'll have the Howie and the Tuesday Night Music Show. They'll be dropping tomorrow night, and Wednesday night we'll have a couple of those hit this week, so you can follow those. And Yeah. And then next week, we'll see. Not sure exactly what's going to happen on Monday. There's, again, more things going on. So just watch that Sunday email and you'll be able to find out more about what's going on. Hanging out with Howie. Howie's up next, DJNTV.com/chill. You guys can bounce out there into the Zoom room and have some fun with them tonight. And, geez, we got to go, Dan. So take us away.
All right. Well, on that note, thank you very much for taking time to join all of us. Hopefully, get your questions answered. And if you didn't, it's your own fault because you got to send them to us so we can answer them. That's just kind of how it works here. Hope you had a great Halloween. Enjoy November. We'll see you next time.